All right, welcome back everyone to another manager's interview for the Draft Champions League. I am joined by the managers of Zero Fox Given, Rye, and Genius X. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and also kind of give a little bit of your history with competitive Pokemon?
Okay. Well, I myself am Rye, and just to start off, I am a long time draft vet. At this point, been playing since about 2017, and what is it? Me and Zing, we are the two most recent DPL winners, season 6, season 7. Now, for all those who don't know what DPL is, that is the top draft team tour before this one. So we like that. That's all I gotta say.
I'm Genius X. Most people on Discord just call me Zing, but I've also been playing draft for probably longer than Rye. I started in 2016 with Oras. And in terms of my personal sort of results in the draft league format, I think I probably have the best individual results across the entirety of SV with DPL and multiple top 4 finishes in these Smogon tournaments. So I would say both Ryan and I are very accomplished in both of our personal accolades as well as captains for draft team tours. So, and this is also my first time captaining with Rye, even though we've teamed before. So I'm also very excited.
Yeah. Just as a little heads up, ZFG is a long existing team with a lot of history. ZFG has been around since, 2018?
2018, yeah, season 2 DPL.
Yeah, of DPL. And we are bringing it back once again. You know, ZFG has never won a championship, but we got the two original members and me and Zhang of ZFG returning. So it's gonna be fire.
We actually have 3 members right now because Sean was also on ZFG, right?
Yeah, yep.
I was actually on ZFG longer than you.
That is true. I picked up Rye at mids, whereas I think I drafted Sean at the start. So
yes, long history between all of us right here.
Ooh, big noise. But yeah, given the history of your team, and you guys are very accomplished as individual captains for your own teams. Obviously, you mentioned DPL season 6 and in season 7. What are your expectations then going into this tour as managers?
I would say my expectation is nothing less than winning the entire thing. Okay. I think that with our background, our experience as captains, we know what it takes to win a draft team tour. You know, what the necessary requirements are when it comes to play, grinding, testing, all that stuff, drafting, auctioning. And I think that we're going to, combine our skills that we have. And I'm expecting nothing less than the entire W.
Yeah, pretty much. I think pretty much every captain's we're going to expect themselves to win, or else why did you sign up as managers in the first place, right? And I think both Ryan and I are the same in that we both have shown the results in the past, and we are both extremely capable as captains and managers in this regard. So I would also expect nothing less of victory for ZFG.
Yes.
All right, I guess we can transition on then to the next question. So the DCL is very different in some ways compared to the Discord draft team tours. One of the, I guess, format changes is that the regular season is now 8 games, and a regular season series can end in a tie. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that format being introduced into a draft team tour, and then as well as the selected tiers of play Smogon had decided to land on for this tour.
Actually, you can go first, thing.
All right. Yeah. So Personally, I mean, I'll start off with the 8 games a week league first. I don't mind it personally. I think it allows for there to be a more competitive season because there's less difference between a win and a draw than there is between a win and a loss. So most teams will still be in playoffs contention going into the last few weeks of the season. But at the same time, like in order to win a week, basically a team has to win 5 games out of 8 games, and for a team tour, that's a pretty tough ask for a lot of the time. So I'm afraid that there's just going to be a overwhelming amount of ties, which sort of makes the season a bit underwhelming for the most part. Because I think if you were to pit 2 equal strength teams against each other, 4-4 is the most likely result most of the time. So there's one part of me that's worried that, there's not going to be that much sort of intensity if it just ends up being all ties between a lot of the teams. But at the same time, I think it does make it for a more competitive season. So I'm interested to see how it goes because it's also my first time doing 8 teams a week. It's also more taxing on the captains if you're having to prep 8 teams or help prep 8 teams a week. But, just got to live with what the format is. And in terms of the tiers that DCL are doing this season, I think it's mostly as it's 3 SV, 2 SS, 1 of USM, 1 of ORAS, and then 1 VGC.
Yes.
Personally, I would have preferred if we had 1 more old gen, such as USM over VGC. But at the same time, looking at the signups, I think there's a lot of doubles players and a lot of VGC players that signed up because we have the open VGC slot. So I actually think I'm starting to turn around to the decision, and I think VGC is actually a pretty interesting and unique aspect to add to DCL, just simply due to the amount of talent it's attracting. That being said, both Ryan and I have absolutely no experience in VGC or doubles whatsoever, so it's going to be more rough on us, but I also think it will be a learning experience for us. And otherwise, I think 2 SS is kind of whack. I think SS is the most boring tier out of the gens we have. I would have preferred either one more of USM or 1 more of ORAS, but I think it doesn't really make that big of a difference in the end. I think the most unique part is the VGC, and I think it's a good ad just to see more talent sort of be willing to join the draft community and be willing to experience with the draft format.
Yeah, very well put. I think in terms of the 8 games a week, just in the experience of DPL, right, where we get a little bit of that when it comes to like playoff times when teams shift from the 7 games a week to the 8 games a week in playoffs. I feel like it's so stressful just trying to get those 5 wins, like what was mentioned earlier, and also too, like, along with that prepping stage, like having to prep 8 games is very much a lot on a weekly basis. And so I don't know if I'm like too keen on having to do 8 games a week. And I do also agree that there's going to be a lot of ties, just because when you think about it, right, like when you compare about having to win 4 games a week to 5, like 5 is a lot when you have so many random different factors and mons like hacks and a whole bunch of things, like the timer and what you got timer, you got scheduling issues, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot of different factors that are going into about 5 games that have to be won. So it's going to be interesting.
It could also,
in terms of,
I was going to say, it could also work the other way. I mean, if you say you have a loss due to hacks or some other BS reason, you have that extra game to potentially salvage the series with a tie.
That's true. I think it definitely gives a lot more weight to each person's win, though, because I think that, especially like I know, for example, right, in this most recent TDT season and the finals, I knew, like, for example, like when I played my game, like me not winning was very, very crucial to our downfall of not winning the entire thing, just because it's like when you need 5 wins, those wins really, really, really matter, like individually. So like if one person doesn't get the job done, like you only got two more wins. I'm like two more losses affordable until you are basically not going to win that week. So, but anyways, when it comes to the tiers, I agree. I also have some reservations about VGC. I still have some reservations because I think that at least for a lot of the captains that are here, majority of them are primarily draft mains, some Smogon mains, of course. But I would say that majority of these people, including ourselves, do not know what VGC entails. And so I think that creates a little bit of a strain for captains, trying to offer our best help in prep and everything like that to our VGC players, because we're now having to be in a learning type phase where we're learning the tier and so that we're able to help them. So it's definitely more work for the captains to be able to provide that adequate support. But I think, like Zing said, it's cool to see the VGC people thriving. I can't hate. So, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, yeah. Most of the time, Ryan and I are used to being the most experienced members on our team as captains, so we're able to provide help the most. But when it comes to VGC, we're just going to be like lost deers in headlights. So like, we have no clue what the fuck we're going to be doing. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting to interact with all the people from the VGC community coming over. So,
It does provide an opportunity to at least observe and then potentially learn the format as the season goes along. But yeah, I guess it's definitely going to be a bit straining, and I'm curious how it's going to impact like the series, because take the VGC game out of it, it's essentially a best of 7 in traditional singles draft tiers, and your swing game is basically that VGC game. So
no. Bro,
so that could essentially confirm you like a series win or you tie.
I don't want to equate VGC to the unviableness that is Little Cup, but I just know from Clash experience, having to rely on Little Cup games to decide your future. Oh my gosh, bro. Now, of course, Little Cup has way more roles and hacks and everything that comes with it, but still, just having to know that a tier that you're not too familiar with, that you're basically entrusting it to another person to handle, might decide your week. That's kind of nerve-wracking, but we're gonna make it through.
Yeah, I mean, I think one last thing I want to touch on is regarding the 8 games. In DPL, when we do have 8 games in playoffs, there is also a tiebreak that comes alongside it if there is a tie, which I think just makes it more hype. Of course, it's a playoff phase, which I think we also have tiebreaks maybe in DCL and playoffs. But at the same time, like, I think for the winning team, it is much more hype for them compared to a team sort of tying. But at the same time, you can also say that if you are down 3-4 and you manage to tie the week, is also a pretty rejuvenating feeling. So I think it can go both ways.
All right, I guess we can transition over to the last few questions. But if you were to describe yourself or your style of managing or captaining, whatever word you prefer, in one word, what would that word be?
That's an interesting one. You can go first, thing. I gotta think on mine.
I don't know either, bro. I mean, I don't remember what I said last time for my DPL interview, but I guess this time I go with the word confidence. I think it's important for the captains and the players to have confidence and trust in each other in a team first setting, which is why I'm very open to let sort of the people I draft just, I guess I would say cook on their own for the most part, and then sort of chime in after when it seems like something might not be working. But I feel like the most important thing is that we have confidence and trust in all of our players for them to be able to handle themselves and let them sort of be able to show off their creativity in the builder, as well as be able to dictate what they want and what they prefer in perhaps the drafts or in perhaps what they want to do as well. So I think for me, it's very important to have that team community where everybody is happy to work with each other. And I think the primary thing for that is for us captains and managers to have confidence in our own players, because otherwise I feel like there's going to be a disconnect between us and the players, and it wouldn't function as a good team otherwise.
I think for me, I would say dedicated is my word, because I think whenever I put myself on a team, especially as a captain role, right, I think it's your duty to make sure you put in your 100% effort to make that team succeed, whether that's being active and helping people with mocks, giving prep support, all of that stuff. I think that it's like very, very crucial to just be 100% locked into a team tour, because your success is also other people's success, and your downfall is other people's downfall. So I'm like, I think that's what I look for in other people, because I know that that's something I'm definitely going to be giving for whatever season of the team tour that I'm in. So
yeah, it's like one game is going to be impacting 8 people instead, or I guess however many people is on a team is going to be impacting multiple people rather than only yourself.
It could be 20 people.
You could be 20 people, yeah. So you got to be able to have that dedication to grind and work throughout the week in order to be confident with your own build and your own play, and to be able to sort of just like perform when expected, and also be confident in yourself when performing.
Love to hear it. And I guess kind of going off you guys mentioning team environment, team cohesion, what are you guys looking for the most in a player to draft them to your type of team? Like what do you want the most from a player?
Activity. If you're dead, I don't want you. Just cross me off the list. I'm not getting you. Just let it be known. If you're not active, no thanks.
Well, define the activity for those who don't know. Like, what type of activity are you looking for?
The activity I do not want to see. Matchups drop. I think Hurricane is going to look good on that Zapdos. They're kind of weak to it. That's all you say, and then nothing else for the rest of the week. No. I need you to be there with giving mocks, and not only mocks, to give that support afterwards, where you're telling them what the player that you helped could improve on. Explaining your sets that you brought. That's what I'm looking for. People who are actually going to be giving meaningful contributions and not just riding the coattails of others. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in the same boat. I've worked with a ton of different players in the past and across like my experience as being a captain. I would say for me, the most important thing is flexibility. I think activity is extremely important, but at the same time, I think you gotta be flexible with your role in the team as well, right? Sometimes you gotta be able to understand that maybe the sets you're thinking of are probably not going to be the sets that are working if they're not working in mocks, and you're going to have to be willing to listen to other players, or perhaps ride in terms of our suggestions. So you're not too adamant about your own ideas if they aren't working. So, and then also some of the time, if they are working, you don't want to come off as too headstrong sometimes when suggesting sets to others. And I think there are also players who they know that they will have to require tons of mocks to be able to create the best team for them, whereas maybe some other players don't need as many mocks. I think you have to be able to recognize which type of player you are, and also be able, but you at the same time you have to be able to like know which is best for you, but at the same time what is best for the team, right? Because if we're expecting something of you, I would expect you to be able to respond accordingly as a player. And sometimes I think as captains we also there are times where IRL is going to impact your activity in the team. So we're not going to expect you to be active each and every week. That's the job for both Ryan and I. But at the same time, like we want you to put in your best. And if your best means maybe like slightly less activity, but like more time spent in mocks and more time talking about games after mocks, then we will accept that as well. So I think you have to be able to fit into your team environment based on what type of player and what type of person you are.
Yeah, because I think that was very well put, because I think I've had a lot of experience with dead individuals or not as active individuals, and it definitely puts a lot of unnecessary burden, not only the captains, but other players on the team for having to pick up that person's slack. So, definitely contribute what you can, because of course, we're accommodating. We acknowledge people's other schedules and conflicts and everything. But if you know you're not going to be active at all, just keep it pushing.
All right, I guess we can move on to the final question, quote unquote. But how confident are you guys feeling going into the auction? And how do you feel about it being held on Pokemon Showdown compared to Discord?
What are you saying now? The auction?
Yeah, the auction. Like how confident do you feel going, like, with your preparation going into the auction, and then it being on Showdown instead?
I would say that just the auction being on Showdown, I don't know, in my mind, right, I feel like the auctions in general are almost like holidays with how hype they are, and like how, I guess, like special they are, because they only happen like every couple times a year, so, and I feel like the Discord auctions just in general are a lot more lively, just when it comes to the general chats, like being in that Discord server and like the emotes and everything like that. I don't know, they're a lot of fun. yeah, the memes that be coming out. So like, I definitely would say I will miss that aspect for this Showdown ran auction, but at the same time, I've never been in a Showdown auction, so who knows? It could be a nice little substitute, like not that bad, but yeah. I mean, either way, I think there will still be a lot of discussion, and it'll still be very, very hype that day of auction, so it'll be cool regardless.
Yeah, I think due to the sheer player pool and the amount of talent we have that signed up for DCL, it's going to be, I think, most captains are going to feel pretty confident going into the draft and the auction that they're going to be able to get a good team no matter what. I think for Riot and I specifically, we're just looking for players that fit our style in terms of like players we think that will work well with us. And in that regard, I think Ryan and I, especially Ryan, actually has put in a lot of work already. And so at least I feel pretty confident going into the auction based on the work I've seen Ryan do, as well as a little bit of work I did myself. And in regards to the Showdown and the Discord difference, I think I do definitely agree with Ryan in this regard. The auctions on Discord are just more entertaining for the spectators because there's much more hype. At the same time, it's more prone to there being some mistakes happening in the auction because it's all handled by a manual individual. So sometimes the countdowns might not be consistent. Sometimes the countdowns might fuck up. And I think Showdown would be able to prevent that by using I think it's a bot that handles all of the countdowns and the auctions and whatnot. But I do think for entertainment purposes, and I've also talked to players who've been in both auctions when it comes to the Discord draft style as well as the Showdown Smoke On style, and they say they do definitely enjoy all the memes that are being posted in the Discord draft auction style. So I think I will miss that when it comes to DCL, but at the same time, it's going to be probably more professional and less mistakes, so that's good as well.
The thing that makes me the most nervous is mid-auction not recognizing somebody's Smogon handle and like missing a crucial player, because I don't know what their Smogon handle is as opposed to their Discord one. But hopefully we're well prepared.
I mean, cough, cough. I gave you a document that gives you both of those.
Oh yeah. Little like for little Timmy Smogon 129 could be nominated, and that could be like the best player of all time on Discord. I just want to know. We'll see.
Yeah, it is nice to have it. Have the bot kind of control the countdown, because then you won't have any shenanigans with like random pauses between like 1 and 2 or 0. If someone can like get a last minute nom in. I wonder if it happens every auction. Someone's gonna overbid by accident, and they're gonna have to probably deactivate the bot and like fix that mid auction. But yeah, overall it should be more professional. I think you can still go into the DCL like server itself. Well, not the DCL server, the Smogon draft server. That general will probably be similar to what other tours like TDT or DPL normally experience during the auction, but you just have to be able to tap back and forth, which is a little bit more obnoxious from a viewer perspective.
Yeah, for the most part, as a manager, I don't actually check the general chat when I'm drafting or auctioning. I just read over everything after the auction is over.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. So, I don't know. Hopefully it'll be a similar environment in the Discord server.
Yeah. This is an aside that I'm going to make, but I think this auction is very unique in the fact that, like, just in the preparation time ahead of this, I've been so just unsure about what people will go for in terms of their price. Because, of course, in draft auctions, right, there's been a precedent about what usually is the cap when it comes to a person's price, like how high someone may go versus how low. But in terms of this, of course, the budgets are a little bit smaller when it comes to how many players you have to get. So it's made it a little bit difficult to predict on what some of these higher end players will be going for. But I'm very curious to see how it all plays out. I think it's really going to be dependent on some of these earlier picks, and I think however they go for, is going to dictate how everybody else spends. So.
Yeah, I think for the most part in draft, a very strong individual player brings more overall to your team than perhaps most other Smogon tournaments, where an individual strong player would bring a good record to your team, but maybe not be able to help as much else for the other people. Whereas in draft, there's a very direct influence a individual can have on the prep and the draft, much more so than I think prepping in regular tiers such as OU or other Smogon formats. So it's going to be interesting to see how the captains work around this idea of the importance of having one key player, and how much all these like stronger players in the player pool go for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you guys participating in this interview today, but I'm gonna finish it off with some lightning round questions. I did this for fun at the end of the last interview I did. So I'll just kind of go through like different, I guess, situations, and you just tell me which one you would prefer. But the first one is Scald or Knockoff.
Knockoff,
yeah, Knockoff is right.
Much more reliable, especially with the low distribution in SV. A good knockoff user is so good, nice to have.
All right, and then Toxic or Will-O-Wisp.
It's got. I feel like it's got to be Toxic. I think like sub protect Toxic sets are always like really cool when you can run them.
I'm gonna go with Toxic because Wisp has missed too many times for me.
That's fact. That's fact.
Thank goodness it isn't Gen 4, Gen 5 when it was like 75% accurate.
Yeah, Gen 5 was 75%.
All right, Hurricane or Air Slash.
Hurricane
all day. Why am I running Air Slash, bro? What the thing is, you're so confident. Like the only reason anybody would ever run air slash is because you're so confident you're going to be landing as opposed to hurricane. But then you get that 5% chance of missing, and you're going to be crying even worse than if you would have missed hurricane. So what's the point?
Yeah, no, air slash is just way too fucking weak. And if I'm running it, I usually have hurricane on the same set already.
Exactly.
All right. High jump kick or steel beam?
Ooh,
High jump kick.
I'm gonna say high jump kick. Yeah, steel beam situational. As it, like you can use on V's and whatnot. It's a cool move, but I don't use it as often.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever used steel beam like that, but high jump kick, cool. Especially with reckless.
All right. Stealth rocks or spikes?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with spikes actually, because I think there's been
I do like.
Wait, yeah, go ahead, right?
Oh no, you can continue.
No, I was gonna say because all of these rock freaks mon be running boots all of these days now, so like these spikes are actually doing more to these non-rock weak mons than rocks are doing to rock weak mons. And I do think heavy duty boots is an overrated item in draft specifically, but you know people are spamming it, so you know I might say spikes, especially one layer, is quite useful.
I agree very much because I think like, of course, people always say that spikes, like they like rocks more than spikes because rocks is like guaranteed chip on a lot of mons. But I feel like there's like a nice little satisfaction in seeing like some, I don't know, like a great tusk or something taking like 12% when it wouldn't from rocks. Like I like that 12% on those grounded mons. So I don't know. I like spikes. Plus, I feel like if you do get up those 3 layers of spikes, oh, you're cooking for sure. So
all right. Rapid spin or defog?
rapid spin.
Spin, yeah, spin. Because one thing I love about spin is if you can predict their ghost switching on the spin and you fucking knock off, or like you go for another attack, it feels so good.
Yep. I don't like removing my own hazards if I don't need to.
Yeah, and that as well.
All right. U-turn or baton pass?
U-turn.
I like U-turn, yeah. Baton pass.
That shit.
More niche, yeah. Although U-turn helmet sometimes is annoying, but you know, I think it's more widely available. And draft players love U-turn, right? That's the meme.
Yep.
And I think in the 8-mon tours, baton pass is usually banned just outright, but I believe DCL is allowing dry pass season.
Yeah,
very much needed. I never understood the banning of baton pass as a whole. I think like I don't know, it kind of treats like players as incompetent because I don't know. I just feel like some mons really do appreciate baton pass, and just eliminating it as a whole due to people fearing that people will make a mistake is just a little bit extreme.
All right.
But yeah.
Regenerator or Magic Guard?
Regenerator.
I like Magic Guard, but I hate all the Pokemon that has the ability Magic Guard. So I'm gonna go with Regen.
Regen is so satisfying to me. Like Torn goated.
I think it also sets up more scenarios where like it rewards the better player, because by getting good positioning, you're able to get more out of your good positioning by getting an extra 32% health. Whereas other times positioning sometimes leads you to only get like that 12% spike chip. But in this case, if you're the better player, you're going to be rewarded more with Regen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The second to last one, Z moves or terrestrialization?
Z moves.
Man. See, I don't know, because I like the fact that Z moves weren't like game breaking most of the time, but I do appreciate the fact that some of these garbage mods have a chance of being good with Terra. Like I like that more mons are viable with Terra. So, but I feel like overall balance wise, I prefer Z moves.
I'm just Gen 7 filled. Z move all the way.
Yeah.
All right, and then
I mean, like, Terra's kind of Mickey. Terra is kind of Mickey.
it can be, yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, the fact that we already have to complex it already tells you how unbalanced it can be. So, and then the last one, Landers T or Garchomp.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
Now, I'm choosing Lando T. That's the GOAT. I just feel like Lando T is a role filler to the max degree. Lando T is just reliable. That's why I like it. Especially in this meta too. With lack of ground resist, I like Lando.
Yeah, I used to be a Garchomp guy, but recently I've turned to Lando. I think it's probably like a top 4 mon in every gen. Although it's the unbanned this season in DCL, it might not be the case, but it's still, I think, the most reliable Pokemon you can have when it comes to what roles it provides, like Bryce said. So yeah, I'm choosing Lando.
Looking at this DLC, GameFreak really some Lando haters. I guess they've had enough of it, because how did they give Torn and Thunderous knockoff and not Lando? They some haters, bro. Like, come on, man. What's the reason? But anyway, Lando T, that's my guy.
They don't need Landers T anymore. They have the new gen Lando, Great Tusk.
Oh, true.
They gave that boy knockoff.
They replace him with Incineroar. They replace him with Great Tusk. Lando T out of there.
But yeah, that was the last of the lightning round questions. I appreciate you guys participating in this and giving your time for this interview.
Yeah, thank you, Sean, for doing this.
Of course.
All right, if you guys enjoyed the interview, make sure to comment down below what your favorite part was. But in the description, you can find the signups. They're still open until September, I believe, 16th at 10 a.m. EST, which is 24 hours before the auction on Sunday. But yeah, make sure to sign up if you are interested. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you for the next interview.